that new whip. Hey, who did it do drip?
And we're live.
Welcome to Bet Records, where we talk about hot topics, ideas, and all the shit you really want to hear. Bronco country, let's ride.
Welcome back to another episode of Bet Records. Well, week one is officially in the books for the 2022 NFL season.
Yep.
We got treated to something very special in week one. Wouldn't you boys say so?
Yes, sir.
There was a lot of good matchups, and Broncos
just-
country did not show up last night. But
We'll
get
start.
into that.
We'll start with the headlines. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh go back and forth, only for it to end with a Pittsburgh field goal.
Yep.
And
In
then-
overtime, right?
In overtime. And then we had the Vikings stomping on the Packers. And then we had Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting it done against the Cowboys with Prescott suffering an injury.
Well,
And
let's-
Russell Wilson's
let's
return.
let's slow down a little
this
bit
shit
here.
a little
So-
bit, all right? We gotta talk about this stuff.
Those are the headlines. I'm giving the
all
headlines.
right. It's the footnotes. And
And
also,
my last headline, Russell Wilson fails to win in his return to Seattle.
there you go.
Yeah.
One final one. The Colts tie
All of that
to
later
Houston.
on
What an
at
upset. Anyways, let's dive into it. We'll talk about our fantasy kind of players as well, and maybe a couple people we're targeting for week 2 as well. We'll kind of see what happens towards the end here. But nonetheless, 2 big matchups in the room directly. We got Q-Tip and Justin starting here. Q-Tip taking the dub in week 1. What kind of contributed to getting this W this week, Q-Tip?
Well, I think I just picked a pretty consistent roster, but also I had a lot of help from Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well.
CEH, what did he get you? 20-something?
I think it was like 21.
So I beat him in the quarterback department. Tom Brady didn't have the best game on Sunday night.
Nope.
21.
He just edged me out in our number 1 wide receivers. I had Chase, he had Adams. I bested him. Devo versus Dante Johnson. Joe Mixon had a better game than Jamal Williams.
Yep.
A.J. Dillon, better than Montgomery. My tight end did a little bit better. And I took a gamble, and I put Rashad Penny on my bench in favor of Julio Jones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Paid off.
And it paid off, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire took it over for Q-Tip. My kicker did god-awful. He only made 1 point after touchdown. Extra point, and my defense mediocre.
Did you have Folk?
Matt Prater.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I had Nick Folk as well. I don't remember if it was this league or my other money league, but yeah, he only got 1.2, which that freaking sucks from a kicker. Not that you're projecting them to get double-digit points, but, I mean, look at the Tampa Bay game. They just kept putting Suck up on the field because Tom Brady. Did he get it done? Yeah, he had 15 fantasy points. Did Tom Brady get it done?
He had
Sure,
11
he got the
points.
W. Did he really do well? No, he didn't, I don't think. What do you think contributed to Tampa Bay's kind of struggle to get in the end zone? Did you watch that game?
I mean, you could say they struggled, but they held Dallas to a field goal.
You know,
Oh, yeah. No.
but Dallas also held Tampa Bay to multiple field goals.
And touchdowns.
And
Only
one
one
touchdown. That's
on
right.
their home turf, too. Their defense couldn't batter down the hatches.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys are one of the only teams that is... I believe they're the only team that still has not lost to Tom Brady. Or who has not won a game against Tom Brady.
Really?
Them and the Patriots.
That's a statistic.
Yeah, Brady. The Cowboys have never beaten Tom Brady.
Weird.
Look this up, Q-Tip.
The Patriots haven't.
Oh, you like your opponent.
Well, in that one, I believe, because he's only been playing elsewhere for 2
No, not Tom
seasons.
Brady, Buccaneers.
Mike, that's what you're talking about. Oh, literally just Tom Brady.
No,
Ever?
just in general for the Cowboys?
Tom
In
Brady,
his
period.
22 careers, Brady has never lost to Falcons, Vikings, Cowboys, Buccaneers, or Patriots.
Really?
Yeah, going a combined 27-0 against those 5 teams.
Wow.
Vikings, too, of course, the Vikings.
That's
Well,
kinda
if you
crazy.
think about it,
That's
he
nuts.
played 20 seasons in the AFC, so
Right.
he would only play the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Falcons. He would play them once every 4 years.
Right,
so-
every 3 or 4. Yeah, that's true.
Except in the AFC, like them having them against the Jets, where they had to play them twice a year for
Right.
20 years.
And I'm sure we haven't played Tampa Bay. The Vikings haven't played Tampa Bay within the past 4 years or 3 years either. I'm sure. Not that I can remember at least.
I
So
thought they have actually maybe played them once.
maybe, but I don't think so. Nonetheless, there Q-Tip getting the first dub in that game. Then we did have me versus Cole. It came all the way down to Monday night. Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton for Cole
But
did pull
it
through.
Squeaked it out.
Squeaked it
They
out.
Squeaked it out.
4-point victory. It's fine.
Yeah,
though.
if
The
Saquon
Vikings
Barkley
did play the
didn't
Bucs
get
in 2020.
over 30 points, I would have been
Okay.
perfectly fine to blow you out of the water. But Saquon decided to blow up.
Yeah, dude, Saquon is looking like a definite value if you got him in the second round. He's playing like a first rounder. The workload was there. The touchdown was there, of course. He had a bunch of catches as well. I was going to see, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 30 yards receiving, 164 on the ground rushing. And then he actually, got a rushing touchdown and that 2-point conversion. So definitely put in work for the Giants there. Unfortunately, no, they did squeak it out against Tennessee. I forgot by 1 point.
1 point.
By 1 point there. Derrick Henry kind of had a lackluster game, only 8 points. He must have had 82 rushing yards. Yep, 82 rushing yards, missed the 1 target. I think it was a bad pass. I think I remember seeing that one. But nonetheless, who's on your team? Hilliard. Damian Hilliard? Dante Hilliard, 20-some points as well for Tennessee. Definitely someone to kind of pick up if he's not already on a roster. He was going to be, kind of that Kareem Hunt type role as well, kind of catching these passes, and he got at least 1, if not 2 touchdowns, I believe, this past week 1.
I think Derrick Henry's going to be pissed, though, and come back with a pretty big-ass game this week, even against the Bills. He's had a lot of 100-yard runs against the Bills in the past.
Yeah, and that's a good stat.
The Bills and the Texans that he always goes off against.
Yeah, we'll have to see because, again, we saw Buffalo on last Thursday night. That defense took it to the Rams pretty hard. So
Yeah, they did.
I believe Tennessee might have a better offensive line. I think they're probably pretty close to equivalent, though, at the same time. So we'll have to see,
We'll see.
what really happens. Derrick Henry's still a tank. I wouldn't try to get rid of him or trade him or nothing like that. You got to keep King Henry. So. Moving on, Cole Comet was my bust for the week. 0 points in fantasy football. I believe he had 1 target as well. It was kind of a rainy pool kind of game against Chicago and San Francisco. Chicago did pull that one out, giving Trey Lance and the 49ers their first loss of the season as well. What was your guys' biggest dud this week on your fantasy team?
I mean, technically, like score-wise, it was my kicker who only put up 1 point.
Okay, but kicker,
Yeah.
I guess.
Other than that, probably David Montgomery.
I mean, Alberto didn't really come to show on my actual team, but also I have Amari Cooper on my bench who didn't do very well. Amari Cooper on my bench who didn't do very well either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope to see Alberto do better in the second week than he did this week.
Yeah.
None of my players really busted. They all just got like 8 points and up.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best player this week was Jamar Chase.
Makes sense.
Team was pretty consistent, I guess.
Yeah, really.
Pittman got 22 points.
I'm going to say, really, Cole, your biggest dud is truly Derrick Henry. I mean, and I wouldn't call it a dud, obviously, either, but...
Yeah, but
Let's
he
go
did the
Hilliard.
worst on
Yep.
the team. He did the worst.
Yeah, Dontrell Hilliard in.
Oh,
Derrick
shut
Henry
up.
out, bro.
Derrick Henry is not out.
He's a relic of the past.
It's a
man.
fantasy in your mind, Q.
He's a
You
relic
Cole,
of
you
the
still
past.
want Rashad Penny?
No, I'm good.
I'll trade you
I'm
for
gonna
Derrick
pass.
Henry.
Yeah, okay, totally.
Might not be a terrible.
What if I give you Jamar Chase?
No.
Jamar Chase for
Ooh.
Derrick Henry?
No. Not right now. We're not talking trades right now.
There
I
you
remember
go.
Josh tried to finagle me to get Penny, and he was just like, "I'll trade you these 2 garbage players."
Mhm.
Yeah, I know.
And then I said, "Here, I got a better one for you," and I offered him Penny for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and now no one will ever do that.
Yep, nope. It's a little too early for
Honestly,
me to
I
trade.
feel like Wyatt would do it.
No, you wouldn't. Nobody's stupid enough to do that.
Again, I think
Nobody's
Wyatt.
dumb enough to do that.
I don't know about that.
Moving on, top fantasy performances this week. Number 1 in total points, our boy Justin Jefferson, 34.9 fantasy points this week, 2 touchdowns, 184 receiving yards, and 9 receptions as well.
He looks like an animal on
He did.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
He's a beast.
I was gonna say, you would probably know the best. I kept hearing talks, on Monday and kind of comparing to Randy Moss, right? Is it a true? Here's my things before you go. It's a different game, right, than it was way back when.
But
Different talent, different team, obviously. different defense approaches. We got a whole game that's different.
But the thing that made Randy Moss so special was that you could triple coverage him, and he would still somehow find a way to come down with the ball. Justin Jefferson's kind of like that guy. You hit him on a slant, and he's gone.
Yep.
Like that one touchdown that Kirk threw him, I think it was in the first quarter. He just hit him with a slant across the middle.
Yep.
Down the sideline, he dodged the tackle and got in. That's the kind of guy Justin Jefferson is.
Yep. Yeah, he's a great route runner, and he's quick as well, and that definitely
with that comparison, you
shown.
can't compare him to Randy Moss, because Randy Moss was more just about just throw him up in coverage and somehow he'll come down with it.
Yeah.
Also so early in Justin Jefferson's career that it's not like it's really comparable yet.
What is it, year number 3 for him?
Yeah, I think it's 3.
God, no, wasn't he a rookie last year?
No.
Jamar Chase was a rookie last year.
Pretty sure this is year 3.
It might be, yeah.
It might be. I can't remember either. Nonetheless,
But the top tier for wide receivers is Kupp, Jefferson, and Jamar Chase.
Yep, definitely has to be.
That's for sure.
Patrick Mahomes scoring 34.9 with 5 passing touchdowns against the Arizona Cardinals at home. Arizona could not put it together.
They were screwed the entire game.
Yeah, Kansas City's looking good for no Tyreek Hill week 1. Kelsey got a ton of points as well. We already talked about CEH. They used him a ton. Isaiah Pacheco as well, the second running back for Kansas City. Yeah, it was garbage time. CEH already got his 2, he already got his pair of TDs, so maybe they just threw him out there to get some exposure. Yeah. So he might be someone to monitor. I think someone will probably end up picking him up this week just because, running backs are scarce, of course. But someone to monitor certainly as the weeks progress here. Josh Allen with 33.48. Saquon Barkley with 30.4 points. And in 5th place this week, 29.72 fantasy football points. Undrafted Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that's just weird to me.
I don't know, honestly, it makes sense to me. I mean, Carson Wentz, he actually did really good, in the midseason last year. For
Yeah.
me. He was a really good pickup for me, especially when I did not have a very good quarterback. So
Yep.
I definitely think it might be a sleeper a little bit this year, maybe too. Honestly, I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah, and they played Jacksonville, right? It's not a defense to run home and tell your mom about, right? But, they got some new, younger talent on defense as well. They upgraded their offense, and, Carson Wentz connected with Logan Thomas, and then, can't remember if it was McLaurin with the last touchdown or if it was
McLaurin.
Samuel. Okay, McLaurin.
No, it was
Dotson.
It was Dotson.
Dotson. Yeah, dude. Jahan Dotson catching a touchdown.
But I know McLaurin did get a touchdown.
Yeah, I believe he did, because then Samuel got one as well, and like I said, Wentz threw 4 of them, so I can't remember who the 4th was. But
I went through my fantasy roster, and I looked at my bench. Either way, I would have lost, but Christian Kirk actually did pretty good.
yeah. Yep.
I kind of wanted to test the waters in week 1, and I'm like, okay, is Trevor Lawrence really going to use him this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be, with Christian Kirk, it'll be a lot of up and down. I think he's going to be great for, bye weeks, injuries if they come up on your lineup. It's just going to be tough. He's going to be a flex play, 100%, but he's going to be a pretty mediocre wide receiver too going into the rest of the season. They paid him a ton of money. I was decently high on him. He should have some great games, and he'll probably have some 5-pointers as well, of course, just like everyone else. Yeah, yep. He did well. Pittsburgh defense, 26 points. We already talked about all that crap Joe Burrow was taking. I believe he was hit another 10 times at least. 4 interceptions for Joe Burrow this week, but he did get 22 points. Looks like 22.22 fantasy
Better
points.
than Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Even with 4 interceptions.
Yep. Quickly, I'll just run through the rest. Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, Devonta Adams, DeAndre Swift all have about 25.5 PPR. Jalen Hurts just missed the 25 mark, as well as Jamar Chase with 24 points as well this week. What did we... I don't know if anyone watched the Houston game. Matt Ryan, I'm going to see what he actually finished with stat-wise, but he was looking okay. Taylor did fine. Pittman, and that's why I knew he did well. It was just really Pittman. That was what most of Matt Ryan's, passes and stuff went to. Looks like he lost a fumble as well, which didn't help for fantasy, of course. Otherwise, he would have ended off with 18 fantasy points. Not terrible. About the same as Russell Wilson at this point. But yeah, Colts couldn't pull it together. They ended in a tie. Overtime went over. Davis Mills kind of put a show out there, connecting with Brandon Cooks for a touchdown as well. Couple other individuals out there, but nonetheless, that was just another kind of crazy game. Week 1 brought us 2 games that went into overtime. So Pretty sweet stuff there.
Elijah Mitchell also got hurt.
Yeah. Let's start with some injuries.
8 weeks
Mm-hmm.
immediately. I mean, that was the risk you took with trying to draft Elijah Mitchell because all the injury concerns in general, but wasn't expecting it week 1.
I was actually thinking about drafting him.
Yeah, me too. If he fell, he was a great running back 3, but right now, Spencer is going to be looking for another option down there.
Yep, and Najee Harris got hurt. Both of Spencer's top
Starting
running backs.
Yep.
Not to mention T.J. Watt, Pittsburgh Steelers defense, tore his pec.
Oh, I did not know that.
He might be out for the season.
Oh shit, that's gonna hurt the defense.
That would take a big blow from Pittsburgh. What do you remember? What quarter or what point in the game that was?
Quarter.
Okay, it was towards the end. I
It
figured.
was at the very end.
Okay, I figured so because they did that well, obviously throughout the defense did. So I figured it was towards the end, but definitely something to note and consider as well. With that defensive pick there, if you got them on your lineup. Another big injury, probably the biggest headline injury of this week. Dak Prescott did injure his hand. I believe it was one of his index fingers Monday night, last night for us here. Sounding like he should be out for a minimum of 6 weeks. I did read today that it's not even looking. It's not looking good.
Jerry Jones, I saw a tweet today, said Dak could be back in 4 games, but Dak could just be Jerry Jones talking out of his ass.
Yeah.
Dak still just straight up failed in the whole game. He can't even say he was injured for most of it.
No.
I was watching a segment on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith, guess what name he threw out, saying the Cowboys should try and get?
What's that?
Take
Odell?
No.
Jimmy G.
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
fucking,
Okay.
I forget what's his name was, shut it down immediately. He was like, dude, Stephen A., you're a moron.
That's who's out there. It's Jimmy G or God, who the fuck did you just say?
Colin Kaepernick.
Yes, Colin Kaepernick. Those are the 2 other big dogs. I think
Is he a big dog?
when looking at the rest, when looking at everyone else, when looking at all of the other backups, yes. Andy Dalton would be the only other person I might put in that category for a backup that's not starting. Is some of those guys, those kind of Carson Wentz kind of like quarterbacks, I think.
Bro, Colin Kaepernick was garbage. He was horrible.
I don't think he's
Didn't he make it to the
horrible.
Super Bowl?
He hasn't played in
He
forever
made the
either.
Super Bowl.
Oh, he did
so
make it
Joe,
to the Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco made a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. And so did the Eagles, dude.
Rich
But
Gannon
so
did.
Nick Foles.
Rich Gannon made it to the Super Bowl and won MVP that season. Do you guys know who Rich Gannon
Nope.
is?
Nope, dude.
Dog, stop.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put you out there.
It sounded like truly they're not looking to, get one of those bigger names. Dak's still going to be the guy. He will be the guy. That's not going to work. But nonetheless, definitely something to monitor. It's going to be kind of hard. I was listening to the pregame last night. So sorry. Cowboys played Sunday night. And then last night before the Denver game started, Monday Night Football, they were kind of talking about the Dak injury and he should be out for 6 weeks. And one of the guys was like, "Yeah, didn't you hear he got like a plate in his finger? Isn't that like not a good thing for quarterbacks?" And the other guy,
Oh, he's
what?
getting like a metal plate in his finger.
yeah, and the other guy,
Plates go in your.
the other guy said, "Yeah, let's not talk about that," and then change the subject. So I was like, "Huh." America's team, America's quarterback. NFL announcers are trying to suppress the injury and how bad it really will be. Do we think I'm thinking too far into this, or does that sound about right?
I think Dak is washed up at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like straight up washed.
I mean, that's true as well, but I was just like, okay, why did they just shut that down? Yeah, let's not talk about it anymore.
I mean, I
Do you
don't think
think-
they're trying to suppress the injury. I think people will find out.
Well, they don't
either
want to
way.
speculate, so.
And
Do you
maybe
think-
that's what it is.
Cole, do you think Zeke is washed?
It's
I
up
do.
in the air. I think he's probably pretty getting there to be completely washed, but at the same time, it's not like he's had a good quarterback the last 3 years because either his quarterback's been injured the whole freaking time, or he's been playing like trash. I think if Zeke was had a better quarterback at this time, he'd still probably be somewhere near his old self, but not fully. No.
I was gonna say Leonard Fournette went from Blaine Gabbert to Tom Brady,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
now he's actually a top flight rough running back.
Yep, and the offensive line obviously contributes a ton as well. We saw Tampa Bay do really good with some, younger tight ends as well, making some good blocks. They were kind of showcasing that during the game Monday night. But, yeah, we just didn't see that with the Dallas offensive line. I don't know if it was really their fault, Zeke's fault. It was just he just kind of kept getting stuffed. I think he probably got 8-ish fantasy points, maybe Elliott did.
I don't think he even got 8.
Yeah,
It was like around 5.
It wasn't a good night. He's really touchdown dependent at this point in the season. I gotta say he's a low end running back 2 for your roster. If he gets a touchdown, of course he'll fit nicely in a RB1 situation. But in a normal 12 team league, you're looking at a low end running back 2 this season. Alvin Kamara had
trash.
yeah, he didn't do good, but he also had an injury. I want to figure out what it was. I believe it was.
Is it really?
Yeah, so he's questionable. Alvin Kamara is dealing with rib issue, and he dealt with it in week 1. So that is part of the reason for his poor performance. He did have 12 touches, but only got 46 yards and obviously no touchdown as well. So he was only in the backfield 62% of the time as well. Stat from Yahoo there. So that should increase. There was another great game. The Saints. Who did the Saints beat again? Yeah, beat the Falcons.
Barely beat them.
Barely. What's up, Mr. Indianapolis in the building?
I was gonna say, the one prediction you guys actually made fun of me for actually almost happened. The Lions beating the Eagles. It was a field goal.
How about them Patriots?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, dude. Let's go back and look at the teams we projected to win here. That's what I'm gonna do. Actually,
I called it. I called it on Miami though. I knew Miami was gonna win that.
Of course you did.
Yeah, the defense just didn't let them get going.
Yeah, true.
Plus,
I think the Patriots have lost to the Dolphins the last 4 times.
They've lost 8 out of the last 10 when they've gone to Miami.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a hard time.
Tua's undefeated.
They have a hard time in that stadium.
Tua Tagovailoa, whatever the hell his last name is undefeated against the Patriots.
yeah, dude. Hey, he played last season, probably lost against him, so I wouldn't say that.
No.
No.
Look it up. It's a stat.
No, they swept us last year.
Oh, dang. Look at that. Tom Brady in the making right there.
Dolphins are a very underrated team. They could make noise.
They are. They did
They're
okay.
the one team.
They only got 1 offensive touchdown, though, this week.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it was only Jalen
It
Waddle.
was to Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
And the other one was a strip sack where the guy came in completely unblocked and
Yeah.
stripped it.
So, I think, honestly... Well, how did Mac Jones look? I honestly didn't... I watched kind of the highlights on Red Zone of that game, but...
He didn't look great.
I didn't think they did.
He didn't look trash, but he didn't look good.
Yeah.
I mean, Devontae Parker also only got like 1.8 points.
On the opening drive, the interception Mac Jones threw, they missed a holding call on the defense.
Okay, Patriots fan. I
Go
just
back
didn't.
and
I
watch
believe it. No,
Go
I
back
believe
and
it.
watch it. Like, even the announcers in the broadcast booth said, okay, they got away with one.
Mm-hmm. Damn. Yeah, let's look at what we picked last week. We obviously picked Buffalo to pick the Rams. Won that one. Baltimore beat the Jets 24-9. Good there. We picked Baltimore as well. Here's where things get a little tricky on our picks last week. Cleveland did sneak out a victory in Carolina, won 26-24. Baker Mayfield could not put it. I mean, he put it together. He still put up 24 points on offense. He is so freaking trashed, bro. I tell you what, as a CMC owner, he is dog shit. There was one play that he had Baker Mayfield snap the ball back, and it was supposed to be a fake, run to at CMC. He was going to kind of go out for a block, and then he was going to, Baker was going to toss it down the field, hopefully, right? Instead, Baker fumbles the ball. McCaffrey's so close to him anyways. McCaffrey picks the ball up and runs for 28 yards. Not a design run, nothing. He was just like, okay, well, fuck you. I'm going to take this ball myself. Worst part for fantasy owners in most leagues, fumble recovery yards do not count. So that was 0 yards for anyone as well. So not only does Baker suck and didn't give the ball to McCaffrey all week, all day this week, all game this week, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're just not trying to use him right away to keep him healthy all season or what the deal is. McCaffrey did get a 1-yard touchdown, which helped me and got him 12 points for half PPR this week. McCaffrey did, but we need to see more out of McCaffrey, us fantasy football owners with McCaffrey on our team. We have to.
Yeah, same for Derrick Henry, man.
And the thing is, when you're down, why would you not give the ball to your best player? Why are you still forcing Baker to make all these mistakes and stuff? Yes, Baker got a rushing touchdown. It was 4 yards or 5 yards, whatever. Good for him. at the same time, come on, let's go, dude. While we're on this game, Robbie Anderson caught a touchdown and a little bit over 100 yards as well, I believe. Got about 20 points in half PPR. Was it a fluke? Possibly.
You never know.
I like him. He's done a lot of dumb shit on social media with all these kind of quarterback trades and moves and whatever with the Panthers, but he did good in week 1. He might be a someone to watch in week 2 as well. He might be a weekly performing guy for fantasy in this offense as well. If he's Baker's favorite target, he will be.
Yeah, if he's Baker's favorite target. I think it's way too soon to tell because
definitely.
Robbie Anderson had a lot of games like this last year too, where he'd pop off for one and then he'd just not do shit.
That's true.
6.
And the one, I want to say it was the touchdown drive, unless it was one of them where he got a bunch of yards. But they did a planned screen, wide receiver screen to Robbie Anderson. So that kind of tells me they're looking to implement him in different ways, and it might be something definitely to monitor throughout the rest of the weeks here. Next game, which was was a push because of the tie, was the Colts. Did tie to Houston at Houston. Again, we kind of talked about that already. I don't get how that even happened, but next one, we did pick Jacksonville to beat Washington Commanders as well. Washington did pull it out, as we mentioned. Wentz did pull that out, 28-22. Then we picked Miami to beat the Patriots. We won that one. We picked the Saints to beat Atlanta. They squeaked by 1 point there. We picked Philadelphia to beat Detroit. I'm surprised that Detroit got 35 freaking points.
Yeah, they got a lot of points. I think the defense just completely lacked stuff at the end.
And the stupid thing was, the first 2 touchdowns, I believe, of the game were for the backup running back. Is it Jamal Williams? No.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
Yeah. So, and Swift still got like 20 points, I believe. But they, again, and I kind of saw this coming as well, they did it last year too. It's kind of a split backfield there. Just, it's just kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say Green Bay because it was a bad week 1. We don't know how it's going to play out, but I don't know, like Buffalo, I don't know, you know what I mean, but
Lots of teams seem to have split backfields right now.
Yeah, it's the new thing, and it almost worked for Detroit. They lost by 3 points. Didn't cover the spread for us bettors out there on the spread there, but nonetheless, Philadelphia did pull through with that victory. We talked about Cincinnati not being able to make it against Pittsburgh. Joe Burrow's lackluster performance with 4 interceptions. A couple fumbles as well from the offense there as well. T. Higgins did go down, I believe it was late in the first quarter with a concussion, something to monitor in week 2. Tyler Boyd is a must start if Higgins is not starting week 2. Play Tyler Boyd if you can, if you got a flex spot you're debating on.
Or even the tight end for the Bengals, Hurst.
Yep.
He got a lot of targets last week.
Yeah, I believe
he got like
7 or 8 targets. I believe he caught 6 or so.
And
50 yards, something like that.
He's someone to look at for the waiver wire, especially if you're in the need for a tight end.
Yeah, and especially when Higgins is out. It's kind of just like the Boyd situation. Higgs and Chase are going to get all of the looks and targets. But when one of those guys are out, you got to look around there because Joe Burrow's slinging the ball, and we know that. So,
When he's not getting sacked.
Right, or throwing interceptions.
When he's not getting nailed.
They were saying that the offensive line was much improved over the offseason.
Yeah.
It looked fucking terrible.
It didn't look like they improved. I agree there.
Sure.
Maybe it's
Super Bowl all
still
over again.
right, and maybe it's still building chemistry. Maybe the Steelers are just that good on defense with T.J. Watt. I'll give it to him.
TJ Watt.
And that's the other thing as well. We'll have to see how that progresses, but he's going to at least be out for the next 8 weeks. It's kind of is already sounding like, but more to come on that. The other game we did not get correct was San Francisco. They did lose against Chicago.
Yeah, but that game was just insane with the rain and everything. I don't know how we could have predicted that.
Yeah. The last touchdown with Justin Fields, him and the receiver and a couple linemen did like a slip and slide on the field. If you saw that in the puddle, yeah, they've replayed that.
Up slide.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and San Francisco was not ready for that, dude.
And Chicago's I think one of the only last fields that uses grass as opposed to turf. So
yeah. Yep. It just sits there in pools.
That's the funny thing. Remember, the Bears got a penalty for bringing out a rag to try to dry up the ground for a field goal kick.
Oh, jeez.
They got a penalty. They got out a fucking towel and tried to dry the field to kick the ball for a field goal.
What the heck?
Yeah, and then the refs gave him a penalty, 15
For what?
yards or some shit.
What did they say?
For literally trying to draw the field, unsportsmanlike conduct or some crap.
I was gonna say back in the '80s, the Patriots in a game against the Dolphins when it was snowing, A guy who just got out of jail just came in with a snowplow and plowed the snow out for a field goal.
I'm just saying, I want to see in the rule book where you cannot bring a towel out to dry the field.
Yeah.
Don't they usually have towels? Like
That's
on
kind of what I was
them?
wondering. What if they, whoops, I dropped my towel. Oh, whoops, I just
That's
stepped
what
on it and rubbed it around on the grass a
Quarterbacks
little
have
bit.
them to like wipe their
I
hands.
don't know,
Right.
I just want to see where in the rule book that is.
Right, and you would think the, kick holder as well should have something like that, especially on a rainy, day, whatever. Wipe their hands off, catch the ball, and done, right? But guess not. So that's interesting. I totally missed that. Good take there. We did talk about Minnesota and Green Bay as well. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers didn't.
They got a
Yeah. Huh?
demolished.
They
Annihilated.
we stomped.
Devoured.
Stomped on.
We stomped on their heads, right, Justin?
Yeah.
Stomped on their
Stomped them up.
heads. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is looking pretty rough. Lazard was out in week 1, so can we blame it on that? I don't think so. But nonetheless, Christian Watson had a wide open pass on the far right side of the field. Would have been a touchdown if he would have caught it. Blown coverage. Missed it. Totally missed it. Totally biffed it. Aaron was not happy.
Aaron took quite a hit in that game too.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a hit. He got sandwiched and then thrown to the ground, basically.
Yep. And then his old teammate,
Yeah.
Smith, I can't remember what his first name
Zadarius
is.
Smith.
Yep. Sacked him as well. Got a bunch of
3
good hits on
times.
him as well. Oh, yeah. Yep. He was all over him. Aaron Rodgers threw an interception for, I'm pretty sure they said the first time in,
Like 3 years.
yeah,
or
since
something.
2019 or something like that as well. So,
Yeah. So
um,
he really had a bad day.
definitely not,
Bad day at the field.
yeah, no, definitely not good for Green Bay. Definitely concerning for Green Bay fans throughout the rest of the season as well. What's really going to happen when we play a good team?
Is it the Vikings time now?
It is the Vikings' time for the division, at least.
Yeah, Cole. What do you think? Week 1, right? Vikings.
I think they're looking perfect. I
We-
think the offense is flowing. I think the defense decided to show up for once.
Mhm.
I think they'll at least make it to the playoffs, honestly, but I don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl. But still, it's definitely the Vikings division. I think that's a guarantee.
Yeah, that's a hot take right there, but I definitely agree. The division-wise, I think it's got to be ours for the taking. New coaching staff, right? Playing our rivals at home week 1. A lot of pressure there. We went out and scored, I believe it was the first drive right away, and we just hammered it the rest of the game as well. Delvin Cook had a great week. I believe he had over 100 rushing yards as well. Every time he touched the ball, it seemed like he was getting a first down. So great performance all around. Good job of the coaches. Made a lot of improvements on defense, and we definitely saw that against a struggling offense against Green Bay there.
Because I think they said at the end of that game, too, some of the players that made the biggest contributions on the Vikings were Jordan Hicks and Zadarius Smith.
Yep.
2 players we picked up in the offseason.
Yep, exactly. So, maybe they saw something we didn't, and again, here we are, and we're looking good. So, great job so far for us Vikings fans. Next game, we already kind of mentioned Kansas City, pretty much blowing out Arizona at home, 44-21. We did pick Arizona, missed that call. Las Vegas did lose to the Chargers. And you idiots picked the frickin' Vegas Raiders, so we had to pick Vegas.
I
Did you
said
say
Los
we
Angeles.
picked
I said the
Chargers.
man.
Did you just say Los
I
Angeles
really
lost
thought
to the
Raiders would take it. I
Chargers?
was like,
No,
I
sorry,
swear
Las
I heard you
Vegas.
say that.
Las Vegas. Lost to the Chargers. So next, Giants squeaked one out, 1 point against Tennessee. Tampa Bay did beat Dallas 19-3. Dallas is the only team in week 1 not to score a touchdown. They will be the only team in week 2 to go without scoring a touchdown yet
Jets
this
not score a
season.
touchdown?
No, Dallas is the only team not to.
Jets scored a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
Interesting.
I put a
Michael Carter, yeah.
Yep, I put a bet out this week that every single team from the noon games and the 3:30 games would score at least 1 touchdown, and I almost lost to Green Bay because of Green Bay, I should say, but they did end up getting that one towards the second half there. So, yep, made that bet, but nonetheless, yeah, again, Dallas is the only team not
showed
to.
up for them at least.
Yeah.
It's anybody who showed up.
All right, and then Tampa Bay. Yeah, we already talked about Tampa Bay. Finally, last night, Denver did lose to Seattle. Gino Smith, I thought it was going to be a great game. Gino Smith, got the first 7 points right away on the first drive of the game. Then it was 7-0 forever, I feel like, and then there was a couple of back and forths after that. But it was I was kind of disappointed, honestly. I thought it was going to be a better scoring game.
Me too. I didn't watch
Did
most of
Judy
it,
get the
honestly.
touchdown
Yeah,
for
Judy
Denver?
got the touchdown. It was a nice touchdown where the pass kind of threaded through the defender's hands into Judy's hands, and then he kind of threw him off and ran for the touchdown. But
Javonte Williams also came close to getting a running touchdown, but at the one, he lost control of it.
so did Melvin Gordon.
Yep.
They both did.
Both running backs for Denver
Fumbled at the goal line.
at the 1 yard line. That is definitely something that, will be talked about in the first practice this week.
No,
Securing that ball.
Do you know what really needs to be talked about in the first week of practice? Why the hell they took 40 seconds off the clock
Yes.
on 4th and 5 just to kick a 64-yard field goal when
Oh,
they had 2 timeouts.
Yep.
They had
And they
Russell
missed-
Wilson.
They
bro.
missed the field goal, and then the coach, when they're doing the kneel down, calls both timeouts just to troll the
Right.
Seahawk fans.
Yeah, and the ref was like, "Why are we?" I was telling Q-Tip that on the way here.
Yeah,
the ref
sure.
was like, "What are we doing right now? Like, why are we even doing this?" 'Cause
I said
yeah.
to Josh last night, it's an unwritten rule. You can do it, but
Right.
you just look like a douchebag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just look like an idiot because Pete Carroll was already, 70-year-old Pete Carroll is jumping and giving hugs and high fiving and whatever, and there's still 7 seconds left on the clock. I'm like, hey, but I don't know. I kind of thought that looked stupid because it's a new Denver coach this year, I believe, as well.
It is.
In his first game, he's just kind of being stupid. Maybe Russell made the decision on that clock and wasting all that time. Maybe. I doubt it as well. And with that timeout situation, I'm kind of questioning what's going on with that, coaching staff. So, not really sure truly what the deal is there. Unless someone else says something else for fantasy, I was going to look at the top waiver wires recommended for this week.
Curtis Samuel's up there.
Yeah.
Dotson.
Number 1, Curtis.
Carson Wentz.
Yep, we talked about Wentz as well. Curtis Samuel did get 17 rushing yards, so they used him a little bit, kind of like a Debo situation. Caught the receiving touchdown, 55 receiving yards. He did have a fumble as well, though, but should be okay. We did talk about running back for San Francisco's injury. Elijah Mitchell down. Jeff Wilson should be the starter.
Yep.
San Francisco always runs 3 running backs, I feel like.
I don't know if he's the best option, but he's an option. I mean, last year when I had Elijah Mitchell, I tried using Jeff Wilson, and he only got me like 5 to 8 points each time he was the starter, so I don't think he's really worth it. But
if you're hurting and you have Elijah Mitchell, again, we
Might
talked
as well,
about running
I
back
guess,
scarcity,
but-
right? Yeah, you might as well take him as a bench stash. If you got to play him, you got to play him, right? He is projected 11 points next week against Seattle in week 2 here. He did score 4 points in week 1 against Chicago, and again, the rain, muddy mess as well. So, and that was splitting time with Mitchell, and then he got injured after the fact and whatever. Cleveland looks like is a big pickup for you defense. Your flyer defensive plays as they play the Jets this week. Taysom Hill, quarterback and tight end on Yahoo. I know he's a just strictly quarterback on Sleeper, I believe. But nonetheless, he had 4 rushing attempts, 81 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown, and 1 reception for 2 yards as well.
So can you play him as a flex?
you
So
can play him as you can.
Yep. So in our Yahoo league, because they give him the quarterback and tight end thing, it's just like Patterson.
Yep.
But the nice thing is, right, you can play him at quarterback or tight end or flex at this point as well. So it's kind of one of
That
those.
actually helps with strategy.
It does, and it's kind of nuts. Would you play him at quarterback? No. Jameis Winston's the guy passing the ball, right? But you can play him at flex, tight end. I think it was another fluke game for Taysom Hill, though.
Jameson's only the quarterback in New Orleans until a supermarket in New Orleans has a special deal on crab legs, and he just can't pass it up.
No, bro. He's too busy eating these W's, bro.
I'm confused as to that reference.
You don't.
What, eating
So
the
when-
W's?
Crab legs?
So when Jameis Winston, I think it was his rookie season in Tampa Bay, he got arrested because he stole crab legs from a grocery store.
What the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Man's making millions and he's stealing crab legs.
Hey, man. Those are still expensive, too, bro.
Still.
King crab legs are like $50 a
Still,
pound.
fuck him. That's not fair.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck him. He makes millions.
I can't believe you've never heard that story.
No,
That's
I
a
didn't hear that
classic.
story. That's ridiculous.
Pretty
Yeah, I haven't heard
I'm
that
pretty
either.
sure Jameis even jokes about
Dude,
that. to this
Jameis is
day.
a freaking meme, bro. They had a post interview after the game, after the victory. It was Winston and Michael Thomas, and the interviewer was like, "Yeah, you've been dealing with some injuries," and Winston's like, "Yeah, man, we're just pushing through it." And I don't remember what he said. I wish I remembered the exact verbiage, but it was just kind of like, "Oh yeah, some of you guys have been playing through some injuries. Yeah, we're roughing through it." And I wish I could find that, but. Nonetheless, Taysom Hill, possibly a bench stash. I don't know if I like him. If I'm picking him up, I'm putting him on my bench and seeing what truly happens. Could this be something that continues? Of course. I think it's another fluke. he had like 2 or 3 games like this last season. Here's one. You might get lucky in a couple weeks again with something like this, but they're just kind of using him as a Deebo Samuel, but he only plays, I don't know, less than 50% of snaps. I don't know what the exact number is, so definitely something to kind of look into there. Pittsburgh is next, playing against the Patriots, who we kind of talked about struggled week 1. Offensively, Carson Wentz as well. Rex Burkhead for Houston did get 9.5 points, caught 5 passes for 30 yards, 40 rushing yards on the ground after 14 attempts. Maybe a decent bench stash as well at running back. Couple wide receivers all hit as well here. Robbie Anderson, we mentioned, didn't get 18.7 points, 102 receiving yards, 5 receptions, and 1 touchdown. Devin Duvernay as well, the wide receiver 2 for the Baltimore Ravens. They did play the Jets this week, but he still got 4 receptions, 54 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, giving him a total of 19.4 points in half PPR leagues as well. We talked about Dontrell Hilliard a little bit. Probably the last mention I'll do is a tight end as well. Gerald Everett. Cole did pick him up as well in our league. He is still out there, though, however.
12.5 points when I needed him the most.
Yeah, he's still out there on a lot of leagues. He's only 28% rostered on Yahoo.
Real MVP in my team. Random pickup getting me that touchdown.
Yep. Did get a touchdown.
He was dog shit last year.
Yep. Because he just got traded. I believe, he was on Seattle still last year or something.
Now he's on the Chargers.
He's on the Chargers. Keenan Allen did get injured as well in week 1. Something to monitor. He might be back. It's not serious. Gerald Everett should be a great option in a heavy passing offense with that great quarterback in Justin Herbert.
Even against Kansas City, they're going to have to use a lot. They're going to have to throw a lot in that game. So I think Everett's
Want to make our predictions for the week?
We are going to do that on the next video. Anyone else have anything for fantasy football talk from week 1? Nah. Alrighty. We're going to week 2. Check out our video. If you're listening to this one now, we're going to be posting week 2 projections. Thursday night game, Chargers versus Kansas City, and the rest of the week 2 matchups coming soon. Thursday morning, check that one out. And thanks again for tuning in as always. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.
Like how she moved it. And like how she moved